if you will see for the Microsoft deployed objects, you will see the publisher as Microsoft. So this is up to you. Now this is the version. This is also up to you. Version of the app package, right? So you are creating an extension for the first time. Suppose you got some changes, right? So you can do it while changing the version 2.0, 3.0, or 1.1.00 like that. Right? Now you can give it a brief or a description of that app package also. The privacy statements, this is a URL for the privacy statements. If you have created any privacy statements, you can specify the URL here. The end user license agreement, if you have the end user license agreement, you can put the URL here. For help, for URL, for logo, right? You can put the relevant path here, relative path here. Any dependency, if this extension is dependent on any other project, suppose this is my D365BC and it is dependent upon Shivani project or Microsoft project. Suppose there are 4 or 5 projects and you want to specify the dependencies of all those projects onto each other. You can specify dependencies here, right? Then you have to provide this app ID of those projects here. Right? The screenshots, if relative path to screenshot files, right? Platform, version of the dependent platform. Application. Now this specifies the 2021 wave 2 because we have selected that platform, right? So this 19.00, we have specified that. And this the ID ranges. Because that's a trial account, we have got the 50 objects. So within these 50 objects, we can create a development project of sandbox project. So if you buy it from any CSP, right, you get some ID ranges for yourself. And in that ID ranges only you can create your project. So some ID ranges, they are reserved for Microsoft, like from 1000 to 999, sorry, from 1 to 9999. These IDs are reserved for Microsoft only. So only Microsoft create objects using these IDs only. Why Microsoft has done this? Because if you are creating, if there's no segregation of IDs, right? And you have created a table with the ID 5 and or an ID 9998. Suppose you think that, okay, this ID is not used, we can create it. And suppose Microsoft in the later releases of Business Central created a Microsoft object, right, with the same ID, then it would be a clash, right? It would pose a clash because you have also created object with the same ID and Microsoft has also created a object with the same ID. Right. So what Microsoft has done, they have segregated the IDs. So 1 to 9999, only Microsoft can create objects with those IDs, right? Then after 10,000 to 4999, like 50,000 minus 1, 10,000 to 50,000 minus 1. This is for the localized version of Business Central. So only, and that is also from Microsoft only. So Microsoft create objects for the localized version of Business Central. So Business Central is present for the localized version also, right? So suppose we have Business Central Canada or Business Central France. They have their different taxation rules. So for that, we need some different UI also. So for that, Microsoft has created localized objects. And the ID ranges are from 10,000 to 50,000 minus 1. Then we have the 50,000 1 to 9999, 1 lakh minus 1. So in this range, the clients or the customers, they can create their customizations, development. They are for us. We can create development using this range only. You can increase that range by paying more. It depends upon you how much you're paying. So for the trial account, we have this 50 objects. Right? Now this is resource explorer policies, defines the accessibility of the resources. So allow debugging, allow downloading the source. So whenever I was doing the download code, I showed you that download source code was also there, right? So if you have any extension you want to download the source code, if you set to false, no one would be able to download the source code, right? If it is true, people would be able to download the source code, right? And then include source and symbol file. This is for the source and symbol file, right? Default setting is false. The runtime is the platform that we have chosen, 8.2, right? So this is about the app.json file. Launch.json file is about the platform where we are launching it. App.json file is about the app that we are creating, application, right? Now comes to the hello world.al and it is throwing us some error. Let's just see the error again. And it says that it is not able to identify what is customer list, Now we know, because we are developers, we know the customer list is the Microsoft object, right? So what we will do, we will go to view, command palette and click on download symbols. And now you can see that on the bottom right, there would be an option of symbols have been downloaded. If everything is correct, everything you have done in launch and app.json, it's correct, no error is there, then your symbols would be downloaded. And as soon as the symbols are downloaded, in the left hand side, you will see a new folder would be created, .al packages. If you expand it, you will see that, okay, these are my symbol files that have been downloaded. Symbols are just a way to tell VS Code what are the pre-built Microsoft objects are. See, now it is able to identify what customer list is, right? And now what we can do, we can publish this project. So whenever we'll publish this project, you will see that it will open this 22 page. Now we do not know what this 22 page is. So we have an option to go to the object designer, right? Do we have object designer here? No, we do not have it. So what we will do, we'll go to extensions. In the installed, you can see only one is installed. So what we will do, we will type al object. Just this one is also sufficient. If you want to write full, you can write it. So you can see that we are getting this option, AL object designer. So if I do not want this debug, so let me just remove this. Yeah. So this you can see that you can write it. C-side object designer was something that the new AL development environment lacks, right? So C-side object designer, it means it was there in the C-side development environment. That was a development environment for Navision. Now the development environment for Business Central is VS Code, and we do not have C-side object designer. So for having that functionality, we can go to the extension marketplace and can download it. And you can see that this is not an extension that is developed by Microsoft. So it is up to you if you want to use it or not. Okay, I am installing it. Right, so you can see that it has been installed. It's just preloading the object designer. And whenever we install it, it automatically comes in the left navigation pane. So we'll see that after the extensions, we have got another icon that is the AL object designer. If I click on it, my objects would be loaded, predefined Microsoft objects. And if you install it before downloading the symbols, nothing would come, because downloading the symbols would only tell, right, the metadata. This is the metadata, right? This only comes when we download the symbols. So after downloading the symbols, get this object designer, and here you can see all the objects that my Business Central is made up of. So you can see we have pages, and in this we have the 22 ID. Yes, we have the 22 ID, and this corresponds to customer list. So in launch.json, we are telling that whenever we launch this project, the customer list page should open. Okay. So now what we will do, we can just explore the object designer. See object designer here itself. Yeah. So we can explore the object designer, and you can see the ID ranges. It will always be there if it is from Microsoft 1 to 1000 minus 1, 1 to, sorry, 10,000 minus 1, 1 to 9999. Okay. You can see that the ID ranges lie in this range only. And the app, yeah, the application is from base application. We have version also. All this we can control via the app.json, right? The publisher. Who is the publisher? Microsoft. In our case, who is the publisher? If we go to app.json, we will see that Trainer Private Limited is the publisher, right? This is the version. So we can control that from here for our application, because this is created by us only. And the range is C, 50,000, 5,100 to 5,149. If I go to helloworld.al and see that we are using this range. Okay. Now, let's just publish this. So we can see the changes. So we go to view, command palette, and to publish it, we just need to write publish. Now you can see we have 4 or 5 options available for publish, even more. So these are different options. If you want to publish it with debugging, you want to debug